You found it.
Okay. Hello and welcome. This is the Ontario Network of CAPC CPNP projects annual presentation. This is an annual opportunity we have to talk about the work of our network over the previous year. And we invite representatives from our funder, the Public Health Agency of Canada. And I know that Sobia, you are here. I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but if you wanted to maybe give a wave and say a quick hello, that would be great. There she is.
Hi, Sydney. Hi, everybody.
Great to have you here.
Thanks.
And we also will have likely Henry Koo joining us. I did get an email from Henry saying he might be a little late. So he'll be here when he gets here, and hopefully we'll have a chance to chat with him or any questions from him at the end. This isn't a hugely long presentation. We expect it to be 20 to 30 minutes with a chance for Q&A at the end. We promise a hard stop for sure by 12:40. I think we definitely need to wrap things up by then. Joining us on the call, along with some guests from the network, are our coordinating committee members. And specifically, I'd like to introduce my co-presenters. We have Colleen Gelman, who is co-chair and also a representative from the Northwest Zone. Colleen is here. Kim Groskleg is here. She's an incoming co-chair and a rep from the East Zone. And Debbie Lovelace is my other co-presenter here. Debbie is our Indigenous Project co-chair for the committee and a representative of the Northeast Zone. Welcome, everybody. And let's see, I think that's all the housekeeping that we need to do, and we can just start in going through the information. First, we'd like to give you just a brief introduction to the network for those of you who might not be aware. Okay. So we are a virtual network, and we connect many projects across Ontario, 160 plus. I don't have the exact number, but it's a good number across Ontario. And our role is connecting, informing, engaging, looking for ways to support projects in the work that they do in supporting vulnerable families with young children. And this work is guided by a coordinating committee whose annual meeting that this presentation is part of. And that coordinating committee has representatives from 5 regional zones across the province. We have a Southwest, a Central, an Eastern, and a Northwest and a Northeast zone. And this committee works quite hard. They get together monthly to strategize, plan, and guide the work of the network. Okay. So this past year, 2020-21, has been the, and I guess I'm passing it over to Debbie for this part. Look at me, I was just like a train going forward. Debbie, you're going to join me in talking about our work plan for 2020-24. And you're shaking at me no? You'd like me just to keep going? You're on mute. You're muted.
When I'm not supposed to be muted, I'm muted. When I'm muted, when I'm not supposed to be.
That's the way it works.
A work plan is to try and keep us on track. Which anybody who knows me knows I need help doing that. 3 program priority areas that have been identified by the network members are healthy promotion or health promotion, positive parenting, reducing access barriers, which seem to be increasing all the time, These priority areas reflect programming focus that is common to projects all across the province. And I think we're getting good at some of these because unfortunately, COVID has been a common bond that has pulled us all together to, in my opinion anyways, to work to achieve those 3 work plan objectives.
And those program priority areas, and they were actually determined by network members through a survey that you're seeing there. And Debbie, the 4 objectives that we have, is this maybe a better for us to go through them quickly with everybody?
Yeah, the objective 1 is to support increased network members, understanding of engagement with Truth and Reconciliation Commission, Canada's call to action. That's an ongoing thing. And I think it will be for years, but we're just baby steps. Increasing network member awareness of health inequities exposed by Indigenous populations, and understanding of use of helpful and cultural appropriate ways to respond. Our second objective was CAPC CPNP project staff with increased access to information about the latest practice trends, tools, and resources, and evaluate quality services to vulnerable families in Ontario. Being from the north, I find this very important because we do not always get the same access to information,
Right.
at least not in person, as people down south. Objective 3 was project staff across Ontario have increased awareness of and engage with network resources, zone meetings, communities of practice, webinars, newsletters, participating on web connects, which has increased, which is awesome. CAPC and CPNP projects staff across Ontario have increased sense of identity and understanding the purpose and key messages of CAPC and CPNP. We are here and we're here to stay, and we will be here to help you for a long time.
Yeah,
Yes.
and these are the objectives of our current 4-year work plan, right? And this past year was year 1, and so the information we're sharing is our successes and challenges in the first year of trying to achieve these objectives.
Yeah, we did pretty good strides in those.
Yeah,
We made pretty good strides in those.
and that's
Pretty
what
good objectives.
I think so. Well, thank you, Debbie. And so we're going to move on from that overview, sort of a large eagle eye of our work plan, to sharing some highlights of the last year with you. And Colleen is going to kind of lead us in that conversation around the highlights. So Colleen, what do you want to tell us what we're seeing here?
Okay, thank you, Sydney. So this past year, the work of the network was greatly impacted, of course, by the pandemic, but it did provide an opportunity for the network to really lean in and support the entire network throughout the year in many ways. And you can see some of those listed on the left. So training and support, and that was through offering technology, learning about technology, opportunities to have technology as part of your project, helping projects use technology to offer programming to families as we navigate a virtual world. As well, another highlight was the opportunity to bring projects together to share information, discuss strategies, and support each other as we lived and navigated and wanted to provide and meet the needs of families during a pandemic. You can see some of the feedback that's been shared. It's up there on the screen from those sessions, and just how valuable project staff found those sessions and how needed they were. that support piece was vital to everyone this past year.
Mhm.
That was a big highlight, I think, for us over the past year.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Another oh, sorry, go ahead, Sydney.
Are you ready for the next slide?
I was just going to comment on the last point, that the role of the network became even more scalable and relevant during this past year.
Mhm.
And we were able last year to offer this, our annual general meeting presentation virtually, and here we are doing it again.
Mhm. And the benefit is that we were able to extend the invitation out to a wider net of network members who, if they're able to join us, and there are quite a few here, so that's great. Mhm.
As well as we're being recorded, and that will be shared for
That's
anybody
right.
who's unable to join.
Yes. Definitely.
Oh. Okay, I'm ready for the next slide. Thank you.
There you go.
Something else we wanted to highlight over the past year was the 25th anniversary of CPNP and the initiative and work that came from that. So a subcommittee of network members got together and they worked on developing a whole resource kit, which included a timeline, a quiz, and a comprehensive 4-week social media campaign. And that was available for all projects to use. It was utilized widely, and I think projects were very grateful to receive that in this time. It all wrapped up with a celebration that was held in November over Zoom. It's quite a successful campaign.
Mhm. Moving on.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that another special event held a few months later was the sharing circles for network members from Indigenous projects, and that happened as a pre-conference event. And that provided an opportunity to share resources and network, and feedback received that it was quite valuable.
Absolutely.
And I think indicated requests for more of this type of opportunity.
Yes.
Okay, and our last highlight that we'd like to bring forward was just new technology projects from our tech engagement project. So opportunity for network members to have access to year-long subscriptions to new online tools, which included PicMonkey and Mural. And along with that, opportunities for training and tutorials to learn about them and share with project staff and utilize within projects for staff and participants.
Awesome. Okay, thank you, Colleen, for sharing those highlights with us. I'm happy to spend a few minutes just expanding a little bit on information about the coordinating committee. I already mentioned that we have representatives from all the zones and the work they do in guiding the initiatives of the network. There have been there's a new thing that the coordinating committee has been doing this past year is taking on some subcommittee work. And you might notice that the 4 subcommittees of the coordinating committee on identity, network engagement, truth and reconciliation, and information access correspond to those 4 network objectives. So the coordinating committee members have really stepped up this year and have committed to coming and doing a little more work and just doing a deeper dive into the work plan and making sure that our work is progressing and staying aligned with the objectives that we've set out for ourselves. So that is a little bit of news, something a little different that's happening this year with the coordinating committee. And as Colleen mentioned, with the increased access and opportunities to connect virtually, The coordinating committee has really been embracing, trying out different tools to increase the effectiveness of our virtual connections. And we are, of course, using Zoom. We use collaborative tools like Google Docs. Pauline had mentioned Mural, which is an online collaboration platform that we've been using for a lot of our planning and strategizing. So just sharing a quick screenshot here of an example of a way that we use a tool like Mural in reflecting on the work that we've done. And it's also a great tool to brainstorm and do some strategic planning. So lots of innovation and interesting things going on. Now, moving on, we want to give you just a quick snapshot of some of the activities that have been happening in our network. This is just another really quick example of another tool that we've used, a mind mapping tool to help us sort of get an idea of how things interlink together. But certainly in our work plan, in our 4 objectives, we have some specific tasks that we are undertaking. And I'm going to give you a quick overview of some of those things. We continue to encourage and support the Zoom gatherings as best we can. Regular gatherings happen in each of our different 5 zones. And we just want to pause and give a shout out to our zone chairs who facilitate and host these gatherings on a volunteer basis. And they provide such an important venue for project staff to connect with other staff in their sort of more regional area. And also hearing updates from Public Health Agency of Canada, which are very valuable to our members. Our zone chairs were also champs and came together and participated as a panel at our 2nd online conference, which happened in February. And we were able to use the breakout room function in Zoom for zone members to have a brief gathering together, which was really fantastic. So along with zone meetings, our network hosts learning circles, and it's a little bit of a new shift. Our network has had what we call communities of practice for many years, and with the new work plan that we launched into this year, we decided to just make a shift in kind of the language from communities of practice, which we felt might be a little perhaps formal, or may feel a little intimidating for people to participate in, to instead the language of calling them learning circles, hopefully with bringing with that a feeling of welcome. And through a survey sent out to the network members as to topics that they were interested in, 3 learning circles emerged and are currently regularly gathering. We have social media and technology, mental health learning circle, and a positive parenting learning circle. And I've got a little quote there from one of our surveys from a network member on just sort of the benefit of participating, and a way to connect with others and to learn about latest resources. We also this past year, we've been noting that this has been a year of a lot of events and gatherings. We continue to host webinars and tutorials, and you see the promotional images of just a sampling of some of the events: a webinar on interpersonal violence, webinar on truth and reconciliation, a couple of special events that we had focusing on maternal mental health and the importance of self-compassion. Also, we were excited to host our 2nd online virtual conference this year, expanding to 2 days at the end of February, which was a lot of fun, and I think a lot of value to our members. Here, I know you probably can't read, specifically the names, but this is just a list of all the events, just to give you an idea of the scope. We had 17 webinars, tutorials, and network discussions that we hosted over the year. And then in addition to that, 9 special larger events that we hosted for our members. We also want to acknowledge we continue to have 2 sort of main communication hubs in our network. We have our online portal, WebConnects, which has been seeing an increase in traffic, and people have been staying on the site longer, which has been great, and accessing the resources there. We're really excited because a relaunch of WebConnects is happening. It's being redesigned right now, so we're hoping when that's ready, it'll be even more accessible, easier to navigate. And our network newsletter, which goes out almost weekly, pretty much weekly, every Friday, is something that network members indicate is a real benefit to them, just giving them insights into upcoming events and resources and things like that. We are also engaged in ongoing evaluation, and Kim Groskleg is with us here, and Kim is a coordinating committee member from the East Zone, and she's also an active participant on the Information Access Committee, which has a focus on evaluation, and she's going to talk us through a little bit of what we've been doing when it comes to evaluation. Hey, Kim.
Hi, thank you, Susan. Yeah, the coordinating committee, we continue to partner with the Center for Community-Based Research, which is based at the University of Waterloo, in further development of our network evaluation framework using a community-based approach. The purpose of the evaluation is to provide an opportunity for the coordinating committee to reflect on our work together in order to develop and strengthen the network over this 4-year period. Center for Community-Based Research is supporting Horizons evaluation. So in this past year's cycle, which is the first of a 4-year cycle of evaluation, it started September 1st, 2020, and it ended around March 31st, 2021. So here, the evaluation helped us to assess what the network does, so process evaluation. It helped us to assess the impacts, the value added of the network activities, so outcome evaluation. And thirdly, it helped us to look at ways in which the network can improve, so our future directions. So this little chart on this slide just shows there were 2 surveys sent out to network members and how many people participated in those, and then 2 other surveys that were directed towards focus group.
Awesome. All right, next slide.
Yeah, next slide. So here's some comments from network members. It's one of the questions that we asked on the survey. What is the most notable change in your practice or your organization as a result of your involvement with the network? And we got some really good feedback from this. One of the first comments, the team felt more informed and connected to other projects as a result. The second comment, people were able to share and gather new ideas and bring new and exciting ideas into their programming. The resources that were developed to acknowledge and celebrate CPNP 25th anniversary helped to guide outreach strategies. Really good feedback. Zoom training, of course, really helped transitioning programming to a new platform, which we were all struggling with at the beginning of COVID for sure. And And the last, the network supported the transition to virtual programming through resource sharing and community of practices, which Sydney had mentioned earlier. We renamed our learning circles. Yeah.
Awesome. And then moving on here to this.
Yeah, there's a second question. We also asked, how could the network better support you in the coming year? And we got a wide range of responses. As you can see, the first one here, I'm not even sure what the network is. It sounds sad, right? To a good suggestion, looking forward to the new look of Web Connects, maybe highlighting a different project each month and sharing a resource, a recipe, or an activity. You know, here's another one. The third comment, our zone is not at all connected. I think there's a lot of value in having zone meetings, but we are not connected as a group. It would be nice to have more support around this. So asking, you know, a real ask for support there. And then the last three comments, we received some really positive feedback here, you know, talking about how people really appreciated the webinars and just want us to keep offering things that they can participate in, and how much people really enjoyed being part of the webinars with other projects, seeing that they are experiencing the same challenges during this time. So that real connection that they were able to have with other projects and learn from them. Yeah, so really good feedback from our surveys.
Absolutely. Thank you for going over that with us, Kim, for our, you know, our whole evaluation plan. It's something we're quite committed to. So, and we like our network members to know that we do kind of read all of the surveys that we sent out and make every effort to make sure that our work is informed by the feedback that we get from them. So we're wrapping up here. We just got some final thoughts to share, and then we can open up for questions and discussions. We do need a kind of a hard finish by 12:40, so we've got about 8 minutes left. So just want to acknowledge that this was quite a year for the network, and with the pandemic and sort of all the shifts that projects we're needing to make across the province. Our infrastructure, how we are set up, was just, it was made to be a support during a time like this. And we were able to lean in and provide valuable supports to projects, not only around, you know, connecting and encouraging and exchanging really creative ideas. Well, we're always just amazed by the creativity of project staff and continuing to serve families even during a pandemic, but also in terms of being able to you know, provide training, guidance, and you know, help in navigating these virtual tools. We will continue, you know, going forward to prioritize regular discussions with a focus on truth and reconciliation. You know, and generally making sure we're having that equity lens, and you know, looking for opportunities to inform and educate our members on things like anti-racism work. So lots of excitement, lots of opportunities this past year, and we're looking forward to another year of supporting our members. So with that, we'd like to open the floor. I do know, I think I see on our participant list, our guest, Henry, was able to join us from Public Health Agency Canada. Welcome, Henry. I'm glad you were able to pop in, and welcome both you and Sobia. If either of you have questions or comments for us, we're delighted to answer to the best we can. And also anybody else who happens to be here and have a question or comment for us.
Henry, did you want to say something?
Sure. Sorry about that. One sec. First of all, sorry about being late. Thank you for the invitation. I was going to try and figure out how to put my, sorry, I'm not used to Zoom. Sorry, give me a minute.
No, we can hear you, which is awesome.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's half the battle.
Anyhow,
There you go.
okay, am I on?
You
Sorry.
are on. I see you, sir.
Sorry about that. As with our involvement with border measures, I've been pulled into this other meeting, and so I do apologize. It was all my intention to attend. Very appreciate the invitation, and I know this will continue to be important, especially now, with respect to social isolation. I understand that, in particular communities, even more other layering of isolation occurs. I'm looking at, in terms of racism, in terms of indigenous, cultural isolation, not being able to practice and be able to gather together. So really appreciate that this work is going on. I do have a question, and I may have missed it. I think you had a list of the type of topics covered. I'm curious, with the focus being on early childhood development, were you able to or have received requests around the impact of COVID and what that has happened with your communities and coping mechanisms, so forth? I'm just curious. Like mental health comes to mind, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. That's kind of what my question is. Thanks.
We definitely have a really active mental health learning circle that comes together and looks at mental health through those lenses. About infant mental health as well. We have a lot of initiatives that training that we're able to access. So yes, through those venues, we are definitely having opportunities to have conversation about that. And certainly there is a whole kind of new and different unpacking of it with families now well into our second year of this pandemic.
Thank you.
Could I just add?
Yes, I was just going to say if anybody else wants to add to that.
So we did offer sessions for projects to come together to discuss the impact of COVID, was the impacts of COVID on their programming and what have you. And that did come forward for sure. People are concerned and we're wondering what the recovery phase will look like. And there was some input that resources and support will be needed for that as we move forward.
Okay.
I think the other thing to highlight is this year, the network and the work that Sydney and the coordinating committee does allowed for us to provide a lot of support and training to sites and locations in order to be able to move to virtual supports. So we hosted training sessions for people to be able to learn how to use interactive tools. We actually funded some access to some tools within the coordinating committee's budget to be able to help people to mobilize. All of those are things, I think, being in a virtual world like this and doing this work, it wasn't a shift for Sydney or the coordinating committee to work at all differently, but we really built on our learning and skills to be able to scale it for the larger network of CAPC CPNP projects.
No, I appreciate, because last year I did join, and the way I had heard some of the connections you're making virtually, unable to carry on some of your programming. I'm just curious now that, we're in more than, 14 months, into the pandemic. It's that next layering of how do you then take advantage of further leverage the virtual means to support these other needs. And then, as Colin mentioned, it'd be very curious now. We all are kind of hopeful with the vaccine uptake. What does it look like? Cross fingers if everything goes well in that recovery mode. And what is then the role of the network? Because you will play a very important role to support folks. How do you then do that, right? So that would be an exciting time, and looking forward to hearing, when we meet next year again, hopefully we'll say, right? We're actually together, assembled, and it'll be really interesting to see what it looks like. It'll be very interesting. So Connie, I'm curious to see, what comes out as folks as starting to ask, what does recovery look like? Partial vaccinated, fully vaccinated, and so forth.
For sure, absolutely. We've got just a minute left. So any final thoughts or comments from anybody before we say goodbye? Anybody on the coordinating committee or call anybody? Or Henry or Sobia, any final thoughts from you?
I just wanted to add quickly to what Henry said. I also noticed that like from the list that you shared, like there were a lot of webinars and training sessions that you offered to the larger network. Like I think you said 17 plus special other special webinars. So I think that like that's more than that's like 2 sessions per month, which is a lot. So I'm so glad that, you know, the work that you're doing is helping out, especially in this time, as Henry was mentioning, you know, to bring people together and providing training, and which was kind of also evident from the comments that you shared through your evaluation, or like even the levels of participation. So like I was looking at the numbers, I didn't look at all of them, but it looked like there's a lot of participation and interest. So that I think that also shows the relevance of the topics that you're providing and the need that's out there. And like Henry said, if the need is going to continue as we get into the recovery mode, and so it is definitely going to be interesting. One thing that I'm also hearing from some of the recipients is they're planning to continue to provide this sort of hybrid kind of model, because there are some benefits, especially you know, reaching out to the people who are hard to reach. So it is really going to be interesting how the work of this committee evolves and the work of the recipients of the project evolves, and what you are learning in this time. So, but thank you for all the work that you've been doing, and it was much appreciated, and it's clear that, you know, the projects are benefiting from it.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Sobia and Henry, for joining us today. Thank you to, I see network, you know, members who have logged in as well to hear this presentation. We have recorded it, and as we did last year, we will, you know, send a link out to the recording to our membership and give them a chance. And certainly we'll send it to you, Sobia and Henry, if you want a chance to, you know, maybe watch what you missed earlier. And we, you know, feel free to reach out with any more questions. And with that, I think we're going to call our gathering to a close, and wish you all a lovely rest of the day, and we look forward to connecting again in the future. So thanks everybody for joining. It was a real pleasure to have you here, and I'll see the coordinating committee back here tomorrow morning at 9:30 for the rest of our annual meeting, and the rest of you hopefully will cross paths soon. So thanks everybody. Take care, and we'll see you again. Goodbye. Ciao.